Everyone hates a bully. Those who beat down the weak in an attempt to raise themselves up. If we had the chance, we'd give them a taste of their own medicine, because it's what they deserve. We can do to them what they did to us and others because it's us doing it. We know that they are the bully and we are the hero, and therefore, their behavior is always evil and ours is always justified, right?
Fighting always last answer to problem.
It's an extremely difficult task to take an iconic film with a huge following and reimagine it for a new generation. I can count the number of times it's been done successfully on one hand, and one of those fingers is pointing at Cobra Kai. If you saw my earlier video analyzing the character of Mr. Miyagi, you know that I am a true fan of the original, so understandably I was nervous when they announced Cobra Kai. After watching it, however, I was amazed at what the creators John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, and Josh Heald had achieved. Cobra Kai pulls off what sequels or reboots rarely do. It manages to be more than a nostalgic rehashing of the past, and takes the iconic story it was based on in a new, engaging, and relevant direction. The series follows Johnny Lawrence, 34 years after he was crane-kicked in the face at the All Valley tournament. Having fallen on hard times, the once rich kid now lives a meager, solitary existence as a handyman, who spends his free time drinking and reminiscing about his glory days. To make matters worse, Johnny can't escape the marketing of his old rival Daniel LaRusso, who is killing it as a car dealership owner and using his karate background as a gimmick to move product. When Johnny inadvertently interferes with a group of bullies picking on Miguel, a kid who lives in his building, he ends up dishing out an old-school karate-style beating on these young punks. This inspires Miguel to pursue Johnny as his karate sensei, and when Johnny finally accepts, Miguel and his social outcast friends begin to turn the tables on their former bullies. Justice has been served. Or has it?
You and I, we aren't done.
One of the best ways Cobra Kai manages to expand upon the themes of its predecessor, The Karate Kid, is by acknowledging the gray areas of justice. I absolutely love many 80s movies, including the original Karate Kid, but movies of that era had a tendency to simplify morality. The good guys are clearly good, the bad guys are clearly bad, and there is rarely any subtlety or gray area between these two extremes, at least in most action and sports movies of the era.
Your disease. And I'm the cure.
The original Karate Kid is not a horrible offender in this regard, as there is subtlety and depth in its characters and relationships, especially the relationship between Daniel and Mr. Miyagi. But the Karate Kid does go out of its way to inspire you to like Daniel and hate Johnny. I know what a lot of you are thinking right now. Have you seen the video Daniel is the real bully? Because it proves Johnny was the good guy in the first Karate Kid and Daniel is really the villain. Yes, I've seen the video, I really enjoyed it, it's cleverly written, but do I agree that Daniel is the real bully of the Karate Kid? Hell no. And I'm pretty sure the creator of that video doesn't either because I think it was meant as a satire. That's my guess. The fact that the video picks up on some very understandable motives behind Johnny's behavior in the original Karate Kid proves that the film was pretty good in providing some depth of character for its villains. However, Cobra Kai pulls that depth into the deep end, diving far deeper into the murky waters of morality. One of the most amusing aspects of Cobra Kai is Johnny's dated ideology. In a way, he embodies the simplistic ideology of 80s action films, and seems oblivious to the current climate of political sensitivity.
My guidance counselor says that certain words perpetuate this sexist worldview that could trigger—
Quiet!
He's an anachronism, and a hilarious one at that. But underneath his mean exterior, we can tell he has a good heart, even if he lacks the ability to express it. As the original film states, there are no bad students, only bad teachers.
No such thing, bad student, only bad teacher.
And while Daniel was initially the victim and Johnny the villain in the first film, Johnny himself was the victim of John Kreese's influence. Cobra Kai delves further into this aspect of Johnny's character, while the original only hints at it. Johnny seemed to lead a fortunate life in the original, but Cobra Kai exposes the other side of the story. There is always more to the story if you look closer, and the series does a great job of elaborating on Johnny's story, revealing the abusive relationship he had with his stepfather. Bullies are themselves often the former victims of abuse, but justify what happened to them by continuing what's called the cycle of violence. The fact that bullies often start as victims doesn't justify their actions, but fully understanding what made them who they are helps us understand the true problem and potential solutions for it. In Cobra Kai, we begin to understand the motives that led to Johnny's behavior, and thus his character becomes far more empathetic.
Back in the day, I just figured you were living the life, fancy cars, motorbikes.
It had its moments. Then I come home and pretty much get bullied every day.
The more interesting character arc in Cobra Kai is Miguel, rather than Johnny, and to a lesser extent his Cobra Kai teammates. Through most of the series, Miguel and his friends are bullied by Kyler and his cronies. When Cobra Kai gives Miguel the strength to finally fight back, we are cheering him on. But later, something interesting happens. Miguel begins to take on the characteristics of his former bullies. As the saying goes, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and Miguel's newfound strength is no exception. Johnny's no-mercy style of karate lacks the philosophy required to prevent the Cobra Kais from falling into a cycle of violence and abuse.
I got this. No mercy.
Gradually, through the later episodes of the series, Miguel and the Cobra Kai start to become what they once hated, and what's more, they appear to be loving it. In spite of their gradual corruption, we, the audience, find it difficult not to continue to root for them, and so must face this conflict within ourselves. Another interesting arc is found in the character of Robbie, Johnny's estranged son. Robbie appears to be a villainous bad boy at first, a chip off the old block, but finds a guiding light in the form of Miyagi-Do karate. As Daniel struggles to repair his relationship with his daughter Samantha, the new recruit at his dealership, Robbie, gradually becomes the son he never had, and even the next protege of Mr. Miyagi's legacy. Robbie befriends Daniel under false pretenses at first, as a way of getting back at his father, but when Daniel begins teaching him the Miyagi-Do way, Robbie finds the balance that is at the heart of Miyagi's karate style and philosophy. While Miguel and the Cobra Kais are slowly corrupted by their offensive style, Miyagi-Do helps Robbie find redemption within himself, and leads him in the opposite direction. But how could Miguel and the Cobra Kais become what they once fought against? Why don't they know better? This is a mistake that is repeated over and over in history. The once oppressed risk becoming the oppressors themselves by linking the source of corruption to the identities of their opponents, rather than their flawed philosophy or principles. And eventually, the identity of their opponents can become open to interpretation. They did it to us, and now it's our turn to return the favor. That's justice. Well, that's the flawed logic of tribalism and the cycle of violence.
Never put passion before principle. Even if win, you lose.
We are completely on board with Miguel and the Cobra Kais at first, yet we slowly see this shift beginning to happen. The series handles this transition very naturally, rather than forcing it with sudden bouts of unexplained psychosis, like the Star Wars prequels.
He's jealous. He's holding me back.
We understand Miguel and the Cobra Kai's logic and choices during each stage of the transition, even if we don't agree with it. Daniel had Mr. Miyagi and his grounded principles to save him from this fate in the original film, but now without the presence of Mr. Miyagi, even Daniel makes his own transition and starts to act a little like a bully himself. That is, before redeeming himself as Robbie's sensei.
Medic!
But Daniel was the real bully. Well, not in the original. Definitely a bit in Karate Kid 3, and in Cobra Kai, Daniel flirts with corruption as well. The truth is, no one thinks they're a bully. A bully's actions are justified from their own perspective. It's not always easy for an audience to see this perspective because, quite frankly, people don't usually enjoy moral ambiguity. It's tempting to simplify good and evil so we can make quick judgments that don't require the work of in-depth analysis. Understanding all the factors and motivations that led to the character's immoral actions is the more truthful, albeit more challenging approach, and this is what Cobra Kai does so well.
Out of nowhere, the guy sucker punches.
What an asshole.
I know, man.
As for my predictions regarding Season 2, Daniel will obviously take Miyagi-Do to a larger scale, with Robbie and maybe even his daughter Samantha as his star pupils, and use the school to fight back against Cobra Kai. I believe we will continue to see the transition of Miguel and the Cobra Kais into the realm of overt villainy. But at some point, this direction will likely reverse once more and they will redeem themselves, or go in a completely new direction. Cobra Kai seems good at going where we don't expect, so I'm sure this will continue in the second season. As for the appearance of Sensei John Kreese, his character will no doubt give us a greater insight into Johnny's character, and perhaps force Johnny to split from his former sensei's school in order to guide his students onto a just path. But I expect to be surprised.
The real story's only just begun.
If you like this video, please check out my other video about Daniel's relationship with Mr. Miyagi, and if you would like me to cover the themes and philosophy in more movies or TV shows, please like this vid and subscribe, or support the channel by donating to my channel Patreon, listed in the description below. Thanks, and until after.
After what?
After.